And then Tuesday, stand up. Stand up like the indigenous people of America did up there in North Dakota. You see, they have circumvented and stopped that pipeline, hopefully, from going through their sacred ground. The ground of East Cleveland ought to be treated like it's sacred, too. Yet, it looks more like Little Beirut than it does the gift that it was from the Rockefeller family. So, again, we can wait for somebody to come get us, but you surely can see that the white man ain't coming to get you. And I ain't heard from Jesus in this department either. It's time for you to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and take your city back. Thank you, Art. And thank you, East Cleveland. I know we can do this. Hashtag once and for all. Let's recall Norton and recall Wheeler.
Thanks for your phone call. Who's on the phone line? The University of Common Sense. Lord have mercy. We got a hot show coming up today. Lord have mercy. Won't be long before Christmas.
Right.
The question is, will Mayor Gary Norton still be the mayor on Christmas Day? The question is, will Mayor Gary E. Norton of East Cleveland still be the mayor on Christmas Day? Will he have a Christmas present of being mayor? Or will he have not such a great Christmas present? Lord have mercy. That's up to the voters. That's not up to me. But on this program, we're going to have a hot one because many of the people, I've been in the street talking to millions of people all over the country. And when I come to East Cleveland and I talk to some of the people that's in East Cleveland, listen, they've been there 40, 50, 60 years. Long time. And you know what? When they be there, they say they are forgotten in East Cleveland. They say that everybody is talking about the other side, but nobody is talking about the other side of the issue with all these people. So we're going to go, listen, this is the hottest show on the radio. Lord have mercy. Glad to have 19 in the studio. But right now, we're going to go straight to our phone line. Who's on the phone line? Devin Branch. This is you on the phone line, right? All right. Devin Branch on the phone line. And you are the man, you are the young man that is in court right now because Mayor Norton say that you assaulted him at the poll at Heritage School on November the 8th. Is that right?
Absolutely. I'm also, of course, the chairman of the campaign to remove Gary Norton from office as the mayor of East Cleveland and the person who pulled the petitions for his recall. And this is the real nature of the charges as well. This is not a question of crime or assault. This is a question of political use of the police to achieve a political objective by a failed leader. And so this is something that is, just another reason why Gary Norton must be removed from office on December 6th.
All right. So to make this phrase this up real quick, you had, for going to the polls and coincidentally meeting up with Mayor Gary Norton, coincidentally, you wound up with a $10,000 bond and being in jail?
Absolutely. And this Gary Norton has had a habit. People have complained many times about Gary Norton's behavior at polling locations. And he knows that he's on the ropes here. He knows that he does not have the support of the majority of the people in the city of East Cleveland. And so he feels threatened by our political action. And so he uses he attempted to intimidate me from engaging in protected political activity against him. And that's why I'm in court and facing these charges, and not just...
Stay real close to your phone, Devin. You're drifting on me. Go ahead.
Okay, so also, this assault charge, could carry with it jail time.
Yes.
In court, I was told that there's the potential of up to 180 days in jail for this alleged assault, which is not an assault at all. And
so you're saying that Mayor Norton of East Cleveland is lying on you and he framed you on these assault charges. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm saying that these charges are completely trumped up and politically motivated. These charges have a political motivation, not a motivation with respect to the event that took place.
I understand that, sir. You made that very clear. But I'm asking you a direct question. Are these made-up charges? Did you assault Mayor Gary Norton?
Absolutely not. I did not assault Mayor Gary Norton. And this should never have not only gone to court, there should never have been an arrest. And if you called the police and said someone knocked the clipboard out of your hand, you think the police would even show up?
No. So why did they show up in this case?
Not only did the police show up, the chief of police showed up because he's the mayor, and he put that chief of police in office. But I wish the people of East Cleveland had that kind of response from the law enforcement of the city of East Cleveland. And not only that, they sent 4 detectives to my home to arrest me. We barely have 30 police in the city of East Cleveland, but 4 detectives going to one home to arrest one person on a misdemeanor, and they waited 9 days from the event to arrest me because I was scheduled to speak at the Democratic Ward Club meeting that day, and that's why I was arrested that day.
All right, you made that very clear. So you're saying that if there was anybody should have been charged with assault for putting a clipboard in your face, it was Mayor Norton, not you.
Absolutely. This is a question of the criminal calling the police effectively and then turning the victim into the criminal. So we'll fight this, though. There won't be any plea bargaining. This will be fought because it's a matter of principle here.
All right. Okay, so the fight is in court, and there's a fight coming up Tuesday. How's your campaign looking to recall Mayor Norton?
We believe that it's looking very good, Art. So, as you know, when we've collected the signatures, 90% roughly of the people who we spoke to, and these were just registered voters, signed those petitions. So we didn't have to spend any time arguing with people, winning people over. They were snatching the clipboard out of our hands to sign. That's 1,000 people, registered voters, who signed the petition. Also, we passed out thousands of flyers. On Election Day, we passed out about 1,000 itself. And on Election Day, of the 1,000 we passed out, we only received less than 50 negative responses. So the question is only turnout. We know we have the support of the people of East Cleveland. The question is, what percentage of the people of East Cleveland will make up the electorate on December 6th?
And your prediction is?
My prediction is we got him. My prediction is that we have a great chance of getting him out this time. And I think that if the turnout is high, we can get him out by a good margin.
All right. Also, at the same time, there's a recall petition out with Miss Stanberry for Council President Wheeler. We don't want to leave him out here because
I think that the fate of one will be the fate of both, most likely. So I don't think that if Gary loses, Tom will stay. And I think if Tom loses, it's quite likely that Gary will lose as well. Tom Wheeler has only won one precinct in the previous election. So he only won the precinct that Gary Norton is the precinct committee person for in the Forest Hills community, 3C. And this is indicative of the problem of East Cleveland, is that we've too long had a government that's interested only in the population on the Hill. There's not even been... One of the most legitimate complaints against Tom Wheeler is he has not bothered to hold a ward meeting in Ward 3, and I live in Ward 3. And I even actually, when he was elected and this complaint first came up, I volunteered to help him organize one. Because he was, and he still wouldn't hold one.
All right, so you're saying...
This is about democratic accountability for leadership that has paid no attention to the entire city below the hill and scant attention to the residents on the hill.
All right. Listen, thank you for your phone call. Listen, Reverend Hunter, this distinguished Hunter, a distinguished pastor from East Cleveland, is coming into the studio shortly.
Years ago,
Cleveland, Ohio, my favorite hometown, to pick it. I wrote down a couple things in regards. I've already voted, and I voted for the recall. One is that this has been going on for a while. The mayor has been insulting. I hope a lot of people get to see that DVD. He was not only insulting to East Clevelanders, but he was in East Cleveland, which is predominantly black. He was insulting the black folks, making fun of not paying our bills. I guess East Cleveland to him, East Cleveland, Ohio, is a joke. And as I've said many times at East Cleveland City Council, do not take my vote, do not take my money for granted. And if anybody wants to talk about it, when you walk into that booth to vote, hopefully for the recall of Gary Norton and Councilman Wheeler, remember, I say maybe one word, well, maybe two, a few words. Nobody in their right mind would put a dump in a residential area. That dump is there. That dump is dangerous. That dump is making people sick. We need new leadership. So don't forget the dump. Hopefully you can come to, I forget the address, Lee and Euclid, and maybe get, it's about 13 minutes of our mayor standing there, putting down these Clevelanders and putting down black folks. I have already voted for the recall. It is time for new leadership.
Terry.
Yes.
Let me say this before you go.
Yes, sir.
Listen, if that DVD,
yes,
if that speech was made by a white man to any audience, we'd run him away. He'd lose his job.
That's correct.
But a black man,
yes, sir,
can make these same disparaging comments,
yes, sir,
to a white audience, and he's still in office.
Yes, sir.
And nothing has happened. I challenge anybody, Channel 19 or anybody, to get the DVD, the tape of Mayor Norton talking to a bunch of white folks.
13 minutes.
At 13 minutes, and the way he disparaged black people in the community, it's a shame, shame, shame. And if it had happened with a white man, we'd have ran him out of town.
Yes, sir.
But with a black man, we've accepted this tape, and it's not fair. Thank you very much for your phone call. Who's on the line? Talk to me. Reverend Hunter will be in, because I have one of my most favorite people in the studio, Marcellus Boyd Cox. And let me tell you something. What a great way to segue in. Because let me tell you something. I have been to a lot of funerals lately. And matter of fact, my wife's stepmother just passed a couple weeks ago. And the fact of the matter is that E.F. Boyd and Funeral Home gave her a great homegoing and funeral. It was very touching. Marcellus, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good evening, and how are you? How are you doing? Glad to be here, and thank you for having me on this evening.
All right.
And I'm also working on sending out something to our families, to those who are grieving this year, and reminding them, because while all the hustle and bustle is going on right now, for a lot of people buying all those gifts, there are a lot of people who are just really sad through the holidays. So I'm in the process of putting something together, and I can just read portions of it.
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, so again, the holiday season is a time that some people can be very just again sad. I mean, it's just overwhelming, because while the world around them is all happy, people are actually reminded about those holiday traditions this time of year, and that loved one, this could be the very first Christmas that loved one is not here, or the holiday season period, from Thanksgiving on through the beginning of the year. So we recommend that maybe this year you just do something completely different. Maybe you go out of town. Maybe you do something far, don't stay in Cleveland, that you just leave and have a completely different tradition this year. Or even if you need to cry, let your family know how you're feeling and share that with them. And then if you need to cry, just cry. Tears can be very healing, and they can release a lot of tension. So we, would like to. I lost my train of thought.
Take your time. That's all right.
So we would like to remind people that if you need to cry, just let it go. And then, this is really important, allow every family member to express grief in his or own way. Because we tend to think, well, that person should be over this by now, that, life goes on. Sure enough, but that person, everybody has their own unique way of grieving, and you've got to let them grieve. Don't try to push them on and say, you should be over this. Just, if that, people have to do what comes to them in their own time. So if it takes years, that is their grief, and don't take it away from them. And what is also very helpful, and what we try to do in our service, is to create a memory table in memory of that loved one. So you can have tokens on that table that remind you of that person, happy times of pictures with that person on it, even some types of what kind of hobbies they had to reflect their hobbies. So you just have that available. And that can be very healing. That can be a very healing way to remember somebody instead of the sad times all the time. And one thing that can be very helpful, and we all know this is very true, if you help somebody else during the holidays, maybe reach out at the city mission or volunteer or help those who are hurting, it helps you. By helping others, you can bring them some joy, and thereby bring yourself some joy too. So these are just some kind of common sense things that you can do to make that burden not so heavy through the holidays. Because again, we think that we paint on that smile sometimes, and sometimes people are just not really, they're not feeling it inside.
That handsome young man right across from you, that's no other than Reverend Hunter from Bright Star, right?
Right.
Tell the rest of it. Bright Star
Missionary
Baptist Church. Yes, and the reason I want to bring Brother Hunter, Reverend Hunter, in right now is before 19 leaves. We have 5 minutes before the news, and what we've noticed in East Cleveland, that some of the most distinguished residents of East Cleveland with businesses and churches here, for some reason, the media has only been putting on one side of the issue. That other side is good, but someone needs to hear the other side of what's going on, and Reverend Hunter is a distinctive man. Tell us about, give us a 5-minute interlude on who you are. Look right in that camera there, Reverend Hunter. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you a lot, Art. We're glad to be here, and we certainly appreciate all that you do. There is another side to the recall of the mayor in East Cleveland, and I'm here to talk about the truth aspects of it and the prophetic aspect of all about merger and recall and all of that kind of thing. I'm not here to put anybody down, here to talk about the fact, to give people a chance, as I believe that there are intelligent people in East Cleveland enough to have the fact to make the right decision. Coming up on Tuesday, the recall in East Cleveland for the recall Mayor Gary Norton. Now, there is another recall for the president of council, Mr. Wheeler. So I just want people to know the facts about that. But we're here because we're concerned about East Cleveland. I love East Cleveland. I've been in East Cleveland 48 years. And because of that, I want to see a community where people have saved their life saving to move from other parts of Cleveland into East Cleveland. They love being in East Cleveland. And for some reason, a mayor and a group wants to merge with Cleveland, want to divest all of the good things that we have in East Cleveland for other kind of things, basically for self-gain. And so we're saying that we love East Cleveland. There's still things worth fighting for. Good place to live, good place to raise your family. And as we go forth in the program, you will hear some of the things that are going on and why we are so passionate about East Cleveland and saving it, why we need to recall. Let me just make this one last point. The call is that sometimes, why not wait until 10 months that he's up for? When the fire is burning the building, you cannot wait another 10 months to put it out. East Cleveland is on fire, needs to be put out now.
No doubt about it. Now, Reverend Hunter, we have a couple minutes. Reverend Hunter, you are a distinguished pastor in East Cleveland. You've noted that. but you have served on many positions in East Cleveland, haven't you? When I can remember when I first opened my shop, you were on the school board. Is that right?
Yes. I went to Shaw High School in 1969. Wasn't that many African American teachers there at that time, taught biology, chemistry, algebra, and that was 16 years altogether, 13 years at Shaw High School and 2 years at Kirk. And then after I finished that, I ran for the Board of Education, got the highest number of votes of any politician in East Cleveland, ran 2 terms. The 3rd term, I chose not to run again because I felt I had made an impact, left the school board in the black. We were not in the red. We left with millions of dollars still in the treasury in order to run the schools.
So Reverend Hunter, you clearly state with as long as you've been in East Cleveland and your position in East Cleveland, that you are really a man that knows East Cleveland and you feel the way you feel for a reason, right?
I love East Cleveland. I chose to live in East Cleveland. I can move anytime I want to, but I want to be there because that's where the people are. I pastored 10 years in East Cleveland on Allendale, and so I think that, and this might not go well with some clergy, you ought to be with your people. I love being with the people. I taught at Shaw High School, lived in East Cleveland, pastored for 10 years in East Cleveland, now just outside of East Cleveland. I love where I am. I love doing what I'm doing, and I don't plan to go anywhere soon.
Reverend Hunter, in the last minute, you said something to me that was very impressive to me that I will never forget. When we were picketing against Huron Road Hospital leaving in Cleveland Clinic, and I got a chance to talk to you in the cold winter one day, and I said, Reverend, why is it in the 60s all the pastors used to come out and participate and be a part of it? And you gave me a quite frank answer that I will never forget.
That being said, is that most of the pastors that I know of, they're looking for what's in it for them. I'm not in it for what's in it for me. I'm in about advancing the kingdom of God. And because of that, as strange as it might seem, I met with a group of pastors the other night. They don't have any prophetic hope for East Cleveland. They're ready to sell out because another thing, they don't have no investment in East Cleveland other than the people that they pastor. If my people that I pastor are good enough to live in East Cleveland, it's good enough for me, and that's why and I think one of the most important things for family to realize this is that listen to the funeral home, listen to the pastor as to what is best for you. You usually take the advice of attorney, you take the advice of doctor, so why not the clergy? Number one, I don't do funeral with open caskets once the family hour is over. The casket has to be closed because I want family to feel good upon the time that is healing start taking place. And most pastors say, well, I don't want to get into this with people. I let them do what they want to do. Well, that's not called a preaching pastor. When you're called a preaching pastor, you should do what is best for the family. And in every instance that I've had funeral and people disagreed afterward, they've come back and said, Pastor, I'm just glad that you insisted on doing this way. We feel so much better and we feel confident. The video out in terms of Mayor Norton, but also we had one of our members, Devin Branch, who was aggressively approached by the mayor at Mayfair School during the regular election, and actually had him arrested because he pushed a clipboard out of his face that the mayor had up in his face, and he therefore had him arrested. I went to the hearing where Mayor Norton, Devin Branch, basically pleaded that he wanted to have the case heard before Judge Dawson, who is our judge there. So that's moved to December the 15th. What all of you need to know in East Cleveland, anywhere else, is all of the people outside of East Cleveland mostly that talk about getting rid of the city. How in the world can you know so much about East Cleveland and want to get rid of a city and you don't even live there? I've been there for 48 years, so tell me some things that I don't know about. I know about everything that is going on, and it's still a place where I want to be. The second thing I want you to know is that it can be financed. We're going to be calling on social media to talk about GoFunding. We want to raise about $75 million over a 5-year period of time, and we will hire CPAs and attorneys to help us do that. We have a committee already set up, a committee to save East Cleveland, not only from being annexed to Cleveland, but to bring the city back. And it can be done because I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the power of God. East Cleveland is a prophetic city, and I said some time ago, it's on the brink of the poor people don't have a voice. They need somebody to raise up the voice of the poor people because they love the city. They spent their last money in buying homes in East Cleveland, and now nobody speaks for them. We want to take everything away from them, even including Mayor Norton. I don't think he no longer lives in East Cleveland, but all of the council and all have not done their job in terms of investigating to see whether or not a mayor, according to the charter, should live in East Cleveland. So I'm saying to you today, with all my sincerity, let's work together, bring East Cleveland back up to the kind of Mecca city that it ought to be, with black people surviving and caring. And one last thing, Art, is this. I want people to know that there has been corruption in East Cleveland. There's also been corruption in other cities. So every time the callers, those who are getting ready to call right now, talk about all the corruption, we know all of that. Don't tell us something new. But we are no different than a lot of other cities that have done the same thing. But what we are saying to you is that we have a city worth saving because we live here, we love it, and we want to see it revived.
Now, Reverend Hunter, I would like to just say that yesterday at Cleveland State University, main classroom building, during the hip hop workshop, you had like a packed house, and we showed the actual DVD, complete with the press conference, as well as the damaging words that I would say came from Mayor Gary Norton's mouth. And during the time when it began and you spoke, a lot of people in there were like, wait a minute. This is like the type of reverend or pastor that we miss being able to speak to the community and for the community's problems and needs. What put it on your heart just to go that extra mile to stand up and out there for the people?
When I first heard about merger, I said, this sounds like a good idea. We look at the streets being bad, the police is being laid off, firemen being laid off, and so I said, if some revenues can be poured in now, that was that. But then I found out that there were other things involved, that the people that were challenging the merger were people live outside of East Cleveland and basically wanted to make money out of it. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the love of people. And I'm in it because I just believe that East Cleveland should be a city that I moved into, like I moved into in 1968, bought a home on Alder Avenue, lived there for 10 years, now up on the hill, as they call it. But I'm still the same person. I'm passionate, and I will go the last mile of the way for the people of East Cleveland, where I have worked, taught school, pastored in, and I just love everything about East Cleveland.
I hear that.
Lord have mercy. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask real quick.
Go ahead.
A lot of people wanted to know how they can get involved, like the headquarters and everything like that, because it was shown on the DVD, you name it. But how can people from outside of East Cleveland get involved with at least helping?
We can certainly accept donations. We have an account down at U.S. Bank in East Cleveland, the only one left in East Cleveland.
Yes.
And so if you want to help, you just send money to either my church, 13028 Shaw Avenue. Make sure that the check of money order made out to the Committee to Save East Cleveland. And we will let that add up, and we will guarantee you that it will only be used for the cause of East Cleveland. Or you can send it to U.S. Bank there at Forest Hill Boulevard in East Cleveland, 44112, and just make it out to East Cleveland, committed to save East Cleveland, and we will certainly use it wisely.
You know, I am impressed with you as a pastor, as a man, as a family man, as a businessman, because in spite of it all, you fear no evil when it comes to right, and you stand on the side of right regardless. And other pastors might not, or might, other businessmen might or might, but you, that's one thing I can clearly say on this radio program to my millions of listeners, that Pastor Hunter fear no evil when it comes to standing on the side of right. Speak up, Pastor.
All right, let me just share this with you. I've been pastoring now for 44 years and going into the 45th year. And I've lived by this motto when I was on the school board and pastoring. If you eat meat at the king's table, you got to dance by the king's music. I've never taken any kind of money from anybody, but the people of Bright Star have supported me, allowed me to be on the school board. And then Bright Star has a daycare center on 13405 St. Clair Avenue. And we take youngsters 18 months up to 12 years of age. We're doing a marvelous job there. We do door-to-door pickup. We take them to school. We tutor them, all of those kind of things. So those are the kinds of things that I stand for. Let me also salute my wife that we've been together for 51 years. All the way from, we met at Alcorn College in Longman, Mississippi, got married in 1965, been together. She put up with me all of these years. We have two beautiful sons. One son graduated from Shaw High School, and the other son attends a special school. So we have a special child in our lives, and God has blessed us, Art, in order to live a normal, productive life. In spite of what some people would say, some hardship, it's a glorified ship, not a hardship.
Yes, glorified.
Glorified.
Lord have mercy. Pastor, I hear you loud and clear. Pastor, really and truly now, you kind of getting under our skin because, well, I've been married now for 10 years, and so I thought that was doing pretty good. but man, how long?
51 years.
And I met your beautiful wife. One day I was outside the church. You know how I be doing.
Right.
Doing fly, and you looking for Pastor Hannah, and she still got that spirit.
That's right.
It's a beautiful thing. Who's on the phone line?
That a mayor would get in the office. Now I understand the fact that when he was making money as a safety director, that was a pretty decent salary. You heard nothing about a merger, but sometimes when you have friendships and they break like he did with council, and they took away the $25,000, sending it back down to $40,000 for the mayor. So he's passionate, needs to take care of his family. I understand that, but don't drain the city. I went in City Hall. You got the first door. You got a sign up there, broken glass, do not use it. I walked up the steps, pieces of towel off. I mean, these are things that you can get somebody off the street that will come in and volunteer and do that. So a city that I love and pay extremely high taxes where I live, and yet I can't even come home on the front street, got to come on the back street, and seemingly nobody cares. And so that's why I'm compassionate about it, and I want to see a change in East Cleveland.
No doubt about it. Listen, in the studio with us,
hello, Art, and thank you for having me on your show. My name is William Marshall, and the number that you're listening to is the Coventry Carol from my holiday CD entitled Noel Star.
And tell us more about the CD. You can get the CD. It's a great CD. We're going to play it up until Christmas because we want everybody to be able to get that CD. So tell us about it.
Well, you can call me. My number is area code 216-939-4974. I repeat, 216-939-4974. Or you can go on to PayPal. That's paypal.me/William Clarence 10. So I started this CD, 2 years ago. It's 2 years old. So at this time of the year, from Thanksgiving on through Christmas, I sell Noel Star for $10. There are 13 cuts, about 45 minutes. Some of the songs that I really do enjoy at this time of the season.
Not only you enjoy it, man, listen, when you gave me that CD at first, I didn't realize give me something else on that cut. I didn't realize how great this CD was until I really got to look at it. Go ahead.
Well, it's like I said, there are 13 numbers on it. It starts with the Creation, the Coventry Carol, which you listen to, God rest ye merry gentlemen, O come all ye faithful, O holy night, silent night, all through the night. Joy to the world, hark the herald angels sing, the first Noel, we three kings of Orient are, and Art's favorite, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. and it ends with Auld Lang Syne.
I'm glad that seemingly more people are listening than calling in, wanting to run down the city and talk about this and talk about that. We're here to say simply this, that the city of East Cleveland is in a critical condition, and a lot of that has to do with mismanagement. I believe that truly, frankly, that the mayor is trying to make the city get even worse than what it is, so it appeals to all of the residents that we need to merge with the city of Cleveland. I'm just the opposite. I think that as bad as it is, it can always get better. I've seen too many people in the emergency room come back to life and to good health, including myself. So that does not bother me. What I am encouraged by, when I see the spirit of the people in East Cleveland that still want to see things happen. Those of you who listen to me, once again, make any kind of contribution, $1, 50 cents, $5, $20, $100, make that to the Committee to Save East Cleveland. Now, it's going further than Tuesday. Tuesday is the recall election of Mayor Norton and also Councilman Wheeler. But past that time, we do have the organization Committed to Save East Cleveland. Send us some money to help us out. Talk is cheap, but money helps us to cause to get out more and more literature to fancy our cause. So again, you can send it to Bright Star with the check of money order made out to the Committed to Save East Cleveland, or you can send it to U.S. Bank in the Forest Hill Boulevard in East Cleveland, and we will assure you that it will be spent according to how you want it spent.
And at the same time that they have a recall for Mayor Norton, remember also that Ward 3 Councilman Thomas Wheeler, Ward 3 Councilman Thomas Wheeler is also on the December the 6th vote to recall Thomas Wheeler. Listen, I've been all through that ward. My shop is in that ward, and I'll tell you right now, everybody is unhappy with Ward 3 Councilman Thomas Wheeler, because when you ask the question, have you seen him on the streets or in your neighborhoods, everybody, I haven't saw one person yet that said yes. When you ask the question, have you seen him on your street or in your neighborhood, the answer is no. The only time you see Councilman Wheeler is at election time. Listen, we don't need a councilman like that on Ward 3. That's what Miss Stanberry, 63, been living in Ward 3 63 years, say that on December the 6th, vote to recall Thomas Wheeler. Who's on the line? Talk to me. And by the way, Reverend Honey.
Yes, Mr. McCoy. And the Reverend, just to mention,
okay.
I have one quick question.
All right, quickly.
If the recall is successful, who would take the place of the mayor and the councilman? Would it be the Midley?
Whoever is president becomes the temporary acting mayor until such time that there is an election for a person to replace the mayor. And we can assure you that we will be committed to Save East Cleveland, will have a qualified person, and secondly, we'll put on the ballot the money to pay a mayor more than what is actually called. We know that there has to be a charter change, but we're going to raise the funds in order to do that.
Thank you for
you don't have a plan to bring different business to East Cleveland besides the plan the mayor has to take you all played to draw maybe like Case West Reserve without removing the residents?
There are all kinds of plans available. Everything in terms of revitalization we have discussed. We're on board with that. We would not be working that hard to save a city if we did not have some plan. And the only sad thing I can say is that most of the people that we contact will not trust the president, elected official, from the mayor to those on council who oppose the. We do have two council members that's working with us, and that's Councilman Nathaniel Martin and also Barbara Thomas. So they're working with us, but all of the others are working with the mayor, and they like the city to see it go down, and to merge with Cleveland.
Pastor Hunter.
Yes.
On behalf of the Art McCoy University Radio Show, I thank you so much for coming in. Of course, we know that Tuesday. Everybody got to get out and vote.
That's right.
Because the enemy is fighting hard to get rid of our city. The enemy is fighting hard to do everything he can to stay in power. So we just ask everybody to come out. This is out of love, not out of hate. Out of love to save East Cleveland.
And we're going to be available to take people to the poll. All they have to do is call, and we will take people to the poll to vote.
You got the last word, brother.
Vote Tuesday, December 6th. Remember, save East Cleveland, your city and mine.
Amen.